Chapter 1 and Chapter 2 in this book, okay? But there are different types of polynomials, okay? There is a monomial, which is one term. There is a binomial, which is two terms. There's a trinomial, which is three terms. Okay? Now, I believe they even go to a four-term one. They call it a quad? Yeah, they're just going to call it a polynomial. A polynomial is four or more terms. Okay, now, a monomial, binomial, trinomial are all polynomials. Okay, but if it's one that just has four or more terms in it, they're just going to call it a polynomial. We will spend a lot of time in the next few weeks on binomials and trinomials. Okay, a lot of time. You're going to factor trinomials. You're going to spend a lot of time on binomials and trinomials in the next few weeks. Polynomials will be slipped in there literal. Monomials will not really be in there a whole bunch. Okay, at all. Now, what we covered in previous years in Chapter 7 of 7th grade, we covered linear expressions. Okay, linear expressions have no exponents, or the exponent is 1. I guess if you want to get real technical, the exponent is 1. So a linear expression is what you have covered up to this point, like the one I just gave you, 7x plus 3x plus 4. That would be a linear expression, okay? What we've been talking about a lot lately is quadratic expressions. Okay? We just talked about and we just came out of the quadratic formula. Okay? A quadratic expression is going to look like this. Okay? But understand that quadratic expression is a polynomial. And what type of polynomial is it? Tri, bi, monomial? Tri. It's a trinomial. Okay? So this is a trinomial. This up here is a trinomial. Well, actually, when you simplify it, it'll be a binomial. Because the actual answer to that one is 10x plus 4. Okay? So the quadratic expression is a trinomial, and real honestly, I can't do anything yet. Okay? And I just made that up, so it may not even factor. But I can't do anything to that yet. Eventually, you will be able to simplify that. Okay? I'll give you an example of a quadratic trinomial that you'll be able to simplify. Okay? You have x squared minus 4x plus 4. Okay? Eventually, we will be able to simplify that. That simplifies into this. Okay? But that is a quadratic trinomial that I can simplify. Okay? Obviously, that you will not learn for a couple of lessons. I think it's midway through this chapter, if I remember right. It's been a long time since I taught this chapter, but I believe it's in this chapter. If not, it's definitely in chapter 11. Okay, now, let's look at classifying by degree, okay, which is what basically quadratic's doing, okay. If you have cubic expression, okay, a cubic expression is 3x to the third plus 4x to the second plus 5. Okay, that would be a cubic expression because of that. The ones we just talked about, the quadratic expressions, are because of that. That's why they are what they are. A linear expression is because of that, because they're all raised to the first power. Okay? So when we are classifying by degree, you have quadratic, cubic, and then you have, sounds like a Nordic term, quartic. Huh? Norwegian, Vikings, Nordic, quartic. That's somebody, back in the Viking days, they would have named their kid. That's quartic man-child. Yeah, that's his last name, man-child. Huh? No. Norwegian would be somebody that's a lot paler than I am, because it's always cold in Norway, so they don't get out in the sun much, and their pigment is real light. Huh? Yeah, but there's also the South Pole. A lot of good it does us there, being in the southern. Okay? All right, now, so this is something like 2x to the fourth minus 7x to the third minus 5x plus 1. So if I was classifying that, that would be a quartic polynomial, okay, because it has more than 3 terms. Okay, so that would be a quartic polynomial. Yep. Quartic? I don't know. We don't deal with them. All right, now, so when we talk about degree, degree is the highest exponent of any term. Okay? So how you classify a monomial, binomial, trinomial, polynomial is by the highest exponent of any of the terms. Okay? Now, usually they are written in standard form. Now, we said the other day, we talked about standard form, and we said, okay, we even had it on the test, where you had like 2x squared minus 3x plus 4 equals 0. And we said that was standard form. Okay? Well, this standard form is different. It will not be set equal to 0. This standard form means I take the variables and list them alphabetically and by their degree. Okay? So in other words, we don't do this. Standard form would not be this. 2x squared plus 3x to the third minus 2x plus 4. That would not be, this is not standard form. Okay? Standard form would be 3x to the third plus 2x to the second minus 2x plus 4. That would be standard form. Because they are going from largest to smallest degree of the terms. Okay, or they're going from the largest exponent to the smallest exponent. Okay, and we try to, if there's multiple letters, okay, you still try to list it in the degree of one of the letters. Okay? So if you have multiple letters, you pick one of the letters and list it and you try to go alphabetically. So if we have an A and a B variable in our trinomial, and one of them's to the second power and the other one's not, then we take the one that's second power and list it. If it's alphabetically, you want to list it first. Okay, now, you can go in descending order. Okay, in other words, I could do this, Okay, you could do that. What we did is we took the constant and then we went up with our degree. We went from the smallest degree term to the highest degree term. Okay? Now, okay, next thing we need to talk about is the degree of the polynomial. Okay, the degree of the polynomial. The degree of the polynomial, make sure, I think, yeah, there it is. Okay, the degree of the polynomial is the largest degree of the terms. Okay, the degree of the polynomial is the largest degree of the terms. Okay, now let's look at number 7 through 12. Okay, on page 579, let's look at 7 through 12. It says, classify the polynomial by the degree and by the number of terms. Okay, so number 7 wants us to classify negative 9y plus 5. Okay, they want us to, by its degree, so its degree comes first, and then the number of terms comes second. So by the degree, what is this? Linear. Okay? It's a linear. By number of terms, what is it? Binomial. Because the largest exponent is 1, and it has 2 terms. So that's why it's a linear binomial. Okay? Number 11. Number 11 says negative 4.3. So by its degree, it is what? Constant. Because it's not raised to an exponent. By its terms, monomial. All right, now let's go to 19. 19 and through 30 is a little different. 19, it says identify the leading coefficient and classify the polynomial by the degree and by the number of terms. Okay? So the leading coefficient is basically the number that will go first. Okay, if it's in standard form. Okay, if it's in standard form, which means we're starting with our largest exponent, or our largest degree of polynomial. Okay, so let's look at number 19. Number 19 says negative 3w plus 7. So they want the leading coefficient, LC. So what is the leading coefficient? What is the number? If it's listed in standard form, what is the first number? Negative 3. Okay? No, coefficient is the coefficient is only the number, not the term. Okay? The next one they ask us to do is classify the polynomial by its degree. So if we classify it by its degree, what kind is that? Linear. Okay? The next one is by its terms. And what is that? Binomial. Okay, now let's look at number 30. Number 30 says negative 8z squared plus 74 plus 39z minus 95z to the fourth. Okay, well, if I put that in standard form, it needs to be listed like this. Okay, this is standard form. So what is the leading coefficient now? Negative 95. What is the degree? Quartic. And what is the terms? Okay. Now let's look at number 13. Number 13 says x squared minus 4x plus 3 plus 3x squared minus 3x minus 5. Okay, you can list these vertically or horizontally. I don't care. Okay, now I think eventually in the assignment they're going to tell you to do it vertically and use horizontal. I don't care which one you use. Use them both for all I care. I want you to find the one you feel is easiest for you. If we do it vertically, then this is x squared minus 4x plus 3 plus 3x squared minus 3x minus 5. So once again, you have to understand plus a negative, plus a negative, plus a negative. We start over here and go down. Negative 3 plus a negative, 3 plus a negative 5 would be what? Negative 2. Negative 4x plus negative 3x. Negative 7x. Nothing happens to the x. The x is like a denominator of a fraction. It does not increase the exponents or anything. Okay? And then you have 1x squared plus 3x squared. 4x squared. There's your answer. So you have 4x squared minus 7x minus 2. Now, where most people make their mistakes is not on those. Where most people make their mistakes is when they get to subtraction. Negative 3x squared plus x plus 8 minus x squared minus 8x plus 4. And this is where people make their mistakes. You have to look, everybody listen, you have to take this and change it to addition and do the opposite of everything behind it. Everything that's in the parentheses. Okay? And then when you set it up vertically, it looks like this. Like that right there. Huh? Why would it be net? Okay, because the original problem was x squared minus 8x plus 4. Well, the original problem, that's got to be plus a negative. So when I change it, so all you're basically doing is change the subtraction to addition, do the negative, change the addition to subtraction, basically. Okay? Huh? Just behind the subtraction sign, just like you normally would. If I had 3 minus 4, that would be 3 plus negative 4. Well, now we got 3 minus a bunch of things, and so it's all got to change. Okay? So your homework is this. We're breaking this up into 2 sections, 2 days, 7 through 30. Okay? That's due on Monday. All right, you're free to go.